Hello and welcome to this series on learning Golang. So let's start off with why you should invest your time into learning Golang. Go is a modern general purpose language, which means you can build pretty much anything you can think of with Go. If you want to build web services, you can do that. If you want to build a database, you can do that. Or a CLI tool, you can do that. Pretty much anything you can think of, you can do with Go. And it's generally going to be a good fit for whatever you want to choose. Go is also a statically typed language, which makes your development experience a lot nicer than like Python. So if we take a look at some code here, we can see that in Go, you can specify the type of a variable. So here we specified my variable and we're saying it's of type string. And we then just set the value here. You can also implicitly do the statically typing. So you could do my var, and then you don't need to say it's a string because we just know, the compiler will just know that it's a variable at this point based on the fact that you set it to be a string. Go is also a strongly typed language. So what does a strongly typed language mean? Well, it means that you basically have to use the types as intended. So you can see here, we've got var a, which is an integer. We've got var b, which is a string. If we try and add a and b, the compiler is going to complain and say you've got mismatched types. Trying to add an integer to a string, you can't do that. You can do this in languages like JavaScript, and it ultimately ends up causing a lot of problems. Strongly typed also allows for much better code completion, and it allows the compiler to check your code at a much higher level and fix bugs before you ever get them run in your code. It's also a compiled language. So with Go, you'll end up with a single binary, which can be run as its own program on pretty much any machine. It's also got really fast compilation. So there's no waiting around for the compiler to compile all your code. It's super quick. In fact, I believe TypeScript is actually being rewritten in Go. And one of the main reasons behind this is the super fast compile time. Concurrency is also built in. There's no external dependencies that you need. It's not a bolt-on or afterthought in the language. It's a first-class citizen. So Go has been built with concurrency in mind. It's also a really simple language. One of the main goals of the creation of Go as a language was to make it simple, to have one way to do things and have one way to do them correctly. And the plus side of this, it means that Go is easy to learn. And once you've learnt Go, it's easy to write as well as to read. You can jump into pretty much any Go repository and be able to read the code because it will all look pretty similar. It's also got a built-in garbage collector, so you don't need to manage garbage collection yourself, and you can focus on writing just your own code. The other reason to learn Go is it's got a proven track record, and it's very much in demand if you're looking for a job. It pretty much dominates the cloud, native, and infrastructure world, and it's used by some huge companies like Google, ByteDance, and Twitch. If you take a look at the Go website, you'll see some of the companies that are actually using Golang, and there'll be some case studies on that. You can also look at the use cases on Go and see, the why Go section here. Look at some of the case studies and the use cases, and you'll see all the companies that are using it, how they're using it. And if you look at some of the case studies in the various areas you can do stuff, cloud and network services, for example, you'll see that super projects like Docker and Kubernetes are built in Go. So for the Hello World example, we're just going to use the tour of Go and their online Go REPL, which will just allow us to write a program very quickly and see how it all works. So you can see here on the right hand side, they have a online IDE where you can start typing that. So this is the standard Hello World that you see in pretty much every single programming tutorial, and this one's no different. So you can see here we've got package main, which is basically just defining that this package itself is called main. We're importing a separate package called FMT, which is basically a formatting library that helps us do lots of things for string formatting, etc. We're then defining this function called main. Basically, any package that you create in Go has to have a main function, and this is where our code ultimately executes from. Within this function, we're then just writing out format.println. So we're using the format package, and we're using the function print line, and that's going to say hello. I don't know what that is, but let's go with hello Tim. And you just click run here in the bottom right hand corner, and you can see the program itself has run. And if we go ahead and edit it again, add some exclamation marks, we can see it's going to send it off to the server, and it's going to respond with that again, hopefully. There we go. Took some time there, but hello Tim. So that's just a super, super basic Go program. You can see that the syntax is very, very simple here. You've just got your package definition. Again, we'll go into all of these things in more detail later on. You import another package, the FMT package, and then you create a function called main, and then you print out some text. Super, super simple. Now, although the Go website is very useful and it's quite nice to just be able to quickly write some code like this and test it out, obviously there's quite a few limitations to this. We can't, read and write files. We can't write servers. You can't do anything actually fun. So we are going to go ahead and install Go locally and start to write some programs that way. Before we do that, it's probably worth just showing the documentation, because the Go language and the standard library has some awesome documentation. It's definitely worth looking at. And you can find this by just going to the Go website and going to the docs and then looking at the standard library. So here we can go ahead and find the FMT package. Let me just go find it. FMT here. And then within this package here, you can go ahead and find the various functions. In our case, we're going to look at print line, as that's the function that we just used. And you can read about the print line function. You can see the signature. And then an also really useful thing is that often the functions will have an example here. And that example itself allows you to actually run the code. You'll see you've got the option to run the code here. So let's go ahead, and you can also change it as well. So change that from Kim to Tim and click run. And again, you'll get the output down here. So that's just a nice way to quickly run some code if you're looking at documentation to kind of understand exactly how it works. What we're going to do is we're just going to install Go. So if you head over to the Go website, again, I'll put the link in the description of this video. Head on over to the download section, and we want to be downloading 1.24 and then whatever minor version it is. So in this series, we're going to be using 1.24 and then the minor version. You can either download the binary here and install it via the instructions. Just click, view the install instructions and follow for whichever version, whichever operating system you're using. Or you can use Homebrew, which is what I'm going to be using. And again, it's just brew install Go, and then you'll get the version that you particularly want. In this case, we want 1.24. As that's the latest, that's what we'll get. So go ahead and copy this. I will then go ahead and install Go at 1.24. We'll just skip ahead of this because no point you sat here waiting for it to happen. Okay, so now Go's installed at version 1.24. We can go ahead and check that by just doing Go version, and it should give us the correct version. So didn't copy and paste. Go version, and we'll see that I'm at 1.24, which is the correct version. So go ahead and install that either via Homebrew or by following the instructions on the Go website. And then in the next video, we'll run through another example locally where we can actually write some Go code. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.